Hey guys, welcome back to the Betar Project. It's your host Nick Betar. Today we've got a special guest, Drew Denford.
What's going on, guys?
All the way from, was it the Shire you drove?
Yeah, Blakehurst, Hurstville, it's the Shire. I'm all around that area.
How was the drive out here?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. Nice to sort of switch off, chuck a set on, and just kind of relax and not let the nerves get to me. Be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, but
Don't worry, bro. I get nervous still before every
that's
episode. So
pressure makes diamonds, huh?
exactly, man. So how's life going? How's PT?
Man, my life is 100 mile an hour at the moment, honestly. Since I've been back, I've just been head down, bum up, and just going crazy, ripping in all aspects. Some big projects coming up, so there's lots of exciting stuff going on.
Awesome. Well, I want to dive into your story, but I want to go back to the beginning, man. What was your upbringing like? Did you always grow up in the Shire?
Yeah, so I grew up in Blakehurst with mum, dad, and my younger sister. So yeah, interesting life. Mum and dad both in the airline industry, are both for Qantas. So dad was a pilot, mum was a hostie. So there was lots going on there. So yeah, obviously, as I speak about in the book, there was a lot going on there in the childhood. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to sort of jump right in, or did you want to?
Yeah, so for a little backstory, Drew sent me a little, I guess, he said ebook, but it's actually a novel of, I guess, all his thoughts over, how long was the time span? About a year and a half? Or
It was ended up being about, just under 2 years. So it was about 18 or 20 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he jotted down all his thoughts over a 2 year time span. Sent it to me. I gave it a read. Very interesting. You know, most people look at him, they're like, oh, this guy's living the life, all the muscles in the gym, partying and stuff like that. But there's more to Drew than, I guess, what you see. Having a read, you didn't really get along with your mum growing up? Or?
No, we, butt heads to say the least. Love her to death, but no, we just don't see eye to eye. And that's, just the way it is.
And you got diagnosed with ADHD or ADD?
Yeah, ADHD. And there was a lot sort of went on there. The way it all sort of came about was interesting. Didn't really properly find out about it until it was year 11.
Yeah.
When I was sat in a I don't know if it was a specialist. I mean, I was in and out of psychiatrist and psychologist office and on and off medication for probably my whole schooling life, up until I still remember it was one day. I think I was in like might have been year 8 or year 7, and I sort of just said to my old man, I said, Dad, I don't feel like myself. Like I don't really know who I am. Like I make decisions. And unfortunately for me, like the medication sort of put me into a depressed state. Became real anxious, wasn't really sure, like lost my appetite, all that sort of stuff. And look, like I don't really hold any grudges towards my parents. They wanted the best for me, and I understand that. But I think the best decision my dad ever made was pulling me from the meds. And then I just started to become alive again, and was able to start to go from there. Yeah.
I guess as parents, it's hard for them as well because it's not really a known thing. They're not educated about it, so they're just listening to what doctors say.
That's exactly right. Like, they're just bigger kids having kids, right? So, definitely.
So, one thing you touched on, your parents are in the airline industry.
Well, they were. Yeah.
They were, and then I read in your novel that you fucking hate flying.
Yeah, this was such a random thing. Like I was blessed and will be forever grateful for being able to travel the world with them. At such a young age, and then I don't know. I think as I got older and the anxiety and stuff sort of started to build, I just became so uncertain. I was like, man, I just had this thought process that would just skip straight to the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting there, I'd be like, man, like, something hits this wing or this engine, that's it. Like, I'd like the slightest bit of turbulence and I'd be fucking bricking it. I'd be just, that's it.
Yeah.
Had a good life. That's it, Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the, I guess, downsides of anxiety. You play through every single scenario through your mind.
You really do.
And you always go with the worst one.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
It's good
Yeah.
that I can relate with you, and I know many other people will be able to relate to that as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, you mentioned you had a bit of a cancer scare.
Yeah. So when I was 19, I found a lump on my right testicle, and ended up getting it looked at. It was several ultrasounds, which for a 19-year-old guy, having a male doctor, lube up your nuts is not not the most comfortable thing. So the conclusion was they didn't really know what it was, but the best option was just to, well, I had a couple of options. It was either to do a cross section, leave it, or just take it out, and I said, let's just get rid of it. We got rid of it. It was 19, so that was a big first probably big hurdle in my life. 19 years old, you got to lose a nut.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
No.
But you know what? It ended up being a 50-50 scenario. It was, negative effect, and I did the first couple of weeks go down quite a depressing pathway. But then I was sort of able to see the light, and this was my second chance.
Exactly.
This was the wake up call. This was, all right, you only get, one shot at this. It's, and it was. It's been the biggest, probably the biggest blessing to date.
Yeah, because it could have gone the other way. Like I spoke to, did you listen to my podcast?
I did, yeah. I had a gaze at that, yeah.
So he got into it early as well, but then it actually spread to his lymph nodes. So you had to have chemo and that. So you're lucky you didn't have to go through all that.
I was extremely lucky. I was able to dodge chemo.
So that was, I guess, the turning point in your life?
It was one of, yeah. And like I say in my book, I feel like there's, three sort of things that can help you, can help an individual sort of, I like to say, see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it's a scare, like a death scare to yourself, experience serious trauma.
Yep.
Or losing a close loved one or family friend, and being able to go through that really helps you realize just how delicate shit is.
Exactly.
And just how fragile life is, and just how special and lucky a lot of us are. So.
And what other turning points, I guess, led up to you dropping everything and leaving?
I got comfortable, man.
Yeah.
I was working a great job. I was a personal trainer, had a good income, got a nice car, was in a comfortable home, and it just stopped doing it for me. And my manager at the time, he did something similar at my age, moved over to London, and so I'd been thinking about it for a while. I was really, really keen on getting over to Europe, and it just fascinated me. And the plans sort of changed, and I was originally meant to go over with a mate to move over and play rugby over there, but that sort of fell through because he needed to finish an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So I said, fuck it, I'm still going to go. So it was pretty crazy. I had these plans through just through a Facebook page. I connected with these Kiwi guys who invited me to link up with them at a festival or two, and we got chatting. He actually was able to team me up some work in London. So I got a visa and got a job sorted over there for after we did some partying, and off I went. Awesome.
I guess it sums up that money can't buy happiness. I guess you had the car, the house, the job.
That's exactly right.
And you weren't happy.
That's exactly right, That's, definitely.
What was your family's reaction when you said, see you later?
Dad was all for it. And I think Mum was too. I think Mum was a bit scared and a bit sort of worried,
I guess as she would,
as most mums would be. But they were just wanted me to go and have an experience that they didn't get to have. And like I say in my book, I really could not have done it without them. And it's you know, my gratitude for that is endless.
Were you shitting bricks when you fired?
Man, when I tell you I was shitting bricks,
When did it feel real? When you got to the airport, or?
So Dad flew with me to Singapore.
Yep.
And then I went Singapore to London, by myself, and it was such a crazy feeling. It's like, all right, waving Dad goodbye in the middle of Singapore, sitting on the plane. I'm like, all right. And then there was like this little knock on the door. I was like, hello, and anxiety was just there. And it's like, what's up, dude? I was like, oh shit.
What was going through your head?
Man, I don't know. It was such a mix of emotions. I was incredibly excited. You know, that an indescribable feeling of freedom.
Yep.
Too. But yeah, it was definitely a big mixed bag of emotions. Yeah.
And when you got there, what was your first move?
So first move was did a bit of traveling. What did I do? I linked up with some friends in London, and then I did some solo traveling for a bit before I linked up with the boys in Amsterdam. Was able to visit my auntie in Switzerland. She lives over there, which was really cool. Like really good to see some family.
Yeah.
At the start of a trip like that, which was good. And then we went over to Amsterdam, and it all sort of took off from there.
And you were playing rugby in Amsterdam, were you?
Yeah, so I travelled for a bit. We did the partying and stuff, and then I came back and I was working out of London, and I was there for about 12 months, and I hated it. London was so fucking depressing, man. Just the vibe from the people. I was working in hospitality for the first time as well, so I was doing bar work there. Started off working in a country club in Surrey, which is like South London, which was a good start. It was tame. It wasn't really full on. It was, it was a nice environment. And then moved in with my mate Jordan, Kiwi guy, and it was that in itself was also a really amazing experience. So we were just working. He got me a job. We were both working at the at a bar just next to St Paul's Cathedral. We were working there. Living in an apartment with nothing in it, using a suitcase for a dinner table, taking shifts, sleeping on the single mattress and the double mattress. It was like living off tuna and rice just to make ends meet.
Living the life, eh?
But we got to exactly right. But you know what? All that mattered was we got to go to these festivals and travel and see the world. So that was really cool. And then I started to get real sick of it at work, and I was lucky. I had a client of mine who did a similar thing when he was my age again, and played rugby in Amsterdam, and we got the connections going, and we were able to tee up that, send over a playing profile, and I was able to get a contract over there in Amsterdam to go and play some rugby. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Living. I'll forever love Amsterdam. I've got some Dutch heritage on mum's side. Mum's mum was Dutch. And so, it was kind of like I felt a lot more at home, you know. Plus the people, I think the people are a lot nicer there as well. A lot more happy and, once you get to know them. So. Yeah.
So were you playing like top level rugby back at home?
Yeah. Here, no, I was playing, so what did I do? I played 3 years of first grade Colts so I played 2 years in like the Shoot Shield division and then played a year in subbies. And then I went over, and then we were playing in pretty much the top league in Amsterdam, which was interesting.
What's rugby like over there?
Just a lot of tall guys. Just imagine a full team of like second rowers. But no, it was actually really cool. So a lot of the clubs over there import a lot of guys too.
Yeah.
Like I think I played against a guy that played for Georgia in the Rugby World Cup in like 2011 or something. So it was really cool. It was a great experience.
Did they get good crowds there?
There was a bit. It's still growing. It's good to see that it's growing over there. It's not huge, but like obviously football is their main sport over there.
So where's some of the top places you got to travel around there?
Definitely all through Amsterdam, and the Netherlands was amazing. Zurich in Switzerland was beautiful. Where else did we get to? Croatia was gorgeous. That was really good too. Yeah, we jumped around. Unfortunately, I had some more travel plans for the start of this year, but COVID sort of jumped in um, and had to play around with that, so that was cut short. But yeah, just the whole experience and everything is just like so easy to sort of move around over there. That's why I recommend it, man. To anyone that asks me and tells me that they want to travel, obviously when you can again, fucking do it. Just go. I recommend as well, like start off in a place like London because it's central. They speak English. It's easy to get work there too, and they do like Aussies. We've got a pretty good rep everywhere, by the way, which is good.
That's good.
So, but yeah, I recommend do it. It's that experience of getting out of your comfort zone and placing yourself overseas. You're just so far away from everything, and I think for me that was the biggest thing. No one really understands until you do it. Like you can message your mates, you can FaceTime your mates, but it's not the same. No. And I think until you are able to experience and feel true isolation like that, you don't really have as much in my personal opinion, you don't really have as much of an appreciation of what you actually have. Don't get me wrong, people will go through other things that can provoke that same sort of feeling, which is really good, like some of those things that I mentioned before. But yeah, in my opinion, to be able to go over and do that and struggle and be sleeping on the floor, eating that sort of stuff, your appreciation for money and the lifestyle here and the things that you have just skyrockets. Absolutely skyrockets.
Did you vlog any of it or video any? That would have been awesome. Man.
Yeah, I we did actually. Me and Jordan and I we vlogged, but it was just parties.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Like, to be honest with you, I can't even watch those. Like it's just still too special.
Yeah.
I can't even go through my highlights on my Instagram. Like people will go through, mates will go through, and I literally can't go through it. That's how special it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess my alternative to vlogging was writing.
Yeah.
So,
how'd that thought come about? Like, what made you decide? I'm going to jot down all my feelings and emotions.
Basically, it started with the fear of flying.
Yeah.
I was on a flight to, I can't remember where it was. I don't know if it was one of the flights over to Amsterdam or Croatia. And so flying into Amsterdam, right, because it's so flat, 9 times out of 10, you're getting turbulence going in because it's just windy as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was shitting it. I was just fucking shitting myself. And I was like, all right, I'm just, I had my music cranking and I was just going to start writing. So I just started writing. And it started to become really good therapy. And I'd try and write about the good, try and write about the bad. But I would literally just go head straight into my notes on my phone.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was one of my biggest helpers throughout the whole experience.
Yeah, well, it's basically like therapy. Instead of talking to someone, you're putting all your emotions out there on your phone.
Yeah, exactly right. And when you've got... So that was my biggest thing. And another, I didn't really mention it before, but my biggest motivator to go over and do that and take myself away from my comfort zone and my comfort net here. So when I experienced times of my toughest depression and anxiety, I had my mates here. I had my comfort zone. I had my net. I could go to them, catch up. We could chat about it. It was all good. But then I sort of thought to myself, what happens when I'm on my own? What am I going to do? I don't have that there. I want to be able to cope with this myself. And do it. So that was one of my biggest motivators to do it in the first place. And then from that, you don't have anyone there. I'm sitting up at 9, 10 o'clock in the middle of London. No one's awake.
No.
I can't reach out to anyone.
No.
And there was some dark fucking times, man. I write about a couple of times, sat on the floor in the dark, probably fucking crying, just really unsure. Why the fuck am I doing this? What am I doing? Does anyone think about me right now at home, or what's going on? And one of the other perks, and I say it's a perk because I've culled a lot of fucking people since I've been back, doing something like this will show you quick smart who your real fucking friends are. You know, I had, you know, and it was a rude shock to me. So I had a very big group of people back here. You know, I was, you know, very social. But there were very few people that actually reached out to me. How you going, bro? What's going on? You know, like we need a FaceTime soon. Like that sort of stuff. And yeah, it shows you, it'll show you quick smart who actually gives a fuck. So, and I'm appreciative of that. And for the people that were there, you know, you have my love and respect forever.
Yeah.
You know? And I gained a lot of new people and a lot of new friends in that experience that I wasn't even close with back home. People that I was able to talk to about certain experiences and certain feelings. And you know what? Half of them probably hadn't even been through what I was going through or, you know, could understand what I was talking about, but they listened.
They supported you, yeah.
Exactly right, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good to keep your circle small. Then
That's
you know
exactly right.
who's true and who's actually going to be there for you when you most need it.
110%. That's exactly right.
So some days you want a very big high, and then the next paragraph I go down, you're on low.
Yeah. So I think that sort of came to do with, and I did a lot of research into bipolar over there. Never been diagnosed with it. Don't want to be diagnosed with it. Don't really want to go down that path. But it was something that, you know, I looked into, and it was something that made sense. You know, I was going through days, you know, days of euphoria, and then days of, I really don't want to get the fuck out of bed. And I did have a couple of days where I didn't get the fuck out of bed. And I sort of just sat there and, you know, just had to push through and look for the you know, the good things.
Yeah, I remember reading like you even had plans with people and you just brushed them off because you couldn't get out of bed.
I literally, yeah. And I think in learning about those, that was something that I never did. Back home, I'd go out, I'd see people, get on the piss, you know, have a good night, and to sort of mask it. But that didn't happen over there. It was, you know, I sort of, in a way, and looking back on it now, probably not the healthiest way to do it, but I forced myself to sit there with my thoughts, and eventually I did. I learnt from them, I grew from them, I wrote about them, and stuff like that. So it was definitely a learning experience about myself.
How did you learn to, I guess, deal with those highs and lows?
Writing about them helped, and then to review them, and I just sort of started to the hard thing when you're in one of those troughs of utter sort of depression and uncertainty, it's really fucking hard to see the light. You know, you're surrounded by all this, you know, this darkness, bad thoughts, you know, what am I doing, blah, 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 no one gives a fuck, you know, and you can get really like that. I'd end up going through my photos of times back home, and there were a couple of photos, like my farewell group photo, like that, and I remember a couple of nights I sat there looking at that photo, just crying, and just sort of looking at it, and was like, man, fuck, I really miss these guys. I could really do with being back home right now, all that sort of stuff. But then I'd eventually, you know, look at what I'd achieved in that time. I'd never lived out of home before. Moved out of home, across the other side of the world, to a completely new job that I'd never worked in before. And I was able to realize that takes some balls, or a ball in this circumstance. So, and yeah, it's very easy as well in this day and age, I believe, to get caught up on the things that we don't have. You go on social media right now and flick through your feed.
You're comparing yourself to everyone.
That's exactly right. You won't see one story about anyone that's having a shit time.
No.
And that's what fucks me off, you know. And I've been real close, you know. Even the last couple of weeks, I've been through some shit. I've been feeling real shit, and I've been I've been wanting to, it's just, I don't really know how to go about it. Like, how do you sort of, like, I want to break that stigma of like, everyone's having a good old fucking time on social media, but I'm sitting here depressed as fuck. Like, what do? I want to, make it aware that this is normality.
Yeah.
Not everyone is feeling good. Not everyone is doing nice things right now.
No.
But yeah, it's a bit of a touchy subject. So like, how do you go about that?
Instagram's a bit of a highlights reel.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's just about, I guess, breaking the stigma, and then as you posting what you're actually going through, so then people get the other side of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's why I'm really keen to get this book out. And I hope that I can get some traction from some places. And one of my biggest supporters as well was, I don't know if you've seen the page on their Builder Brotherhood.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you'll have to have a look, man.
Okay.
It was one of the most amazing pages. So it's run by a girl in, I think she's from Melbourne, and her brother took his own life, and she's dedicated this page to helping males and preventing suicide, talking about depression, anxiety, and men's mental health. And it's amazing. Wait till you have a look. The stuff on there is really, really good. Stuff like that, and a couple of other pages. If I can get my story out there and help, people like you and I who are going through these things but don't really, one, know what to do, and two, feel like they're isolated and have no one to talk to. I feel like we could break down some barriers and really make some good progress. And as well, for me, the biggest, I don't know if I'd be alive without this book.
Yeah.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Haven't read that yet, but
man, get onto that.
Yeah.
That is the shit. I constantly share his posts on Instagram where he'll post up some little snippets from the book, and that was where I kind of wanted to come from a little bit in my book in regards to the raw aspect of it. He just tells you how the fuck it is, and highlights a lot of things that we probably think about but don't really acknowledge as normal. So yeah, along with that, and fun fact, that's one of the first probably only book I've ever finished.
Really?
So yeah, with the ADHD, I find it really hard to, you're probably noticing I'm fidgeting and moving heaps at the moment.
I'm the same, bro.
It's one of the first and only books to ever finish. So shout out to Mark, man. That's a
How long did it take you to read?
Took me a while. Took me a year.
That's all right.
It took me a year, but you know what? I got there, and that feeling of finishing that book was fucking unreal.
And I guess because it took so long, you fucking processed every bit.
Exactly right. And I would go through, actually, and this was another thing I did too. I would go through and take photos of certain pages and even like highlight certain things in that book. And when I'd go through my phases of anxiety, and I'd actually do a lot of my reading on the airplane.
Yep.
I'd chuck my music in. Yeah, I have to listen to music while I read. Really weird, but it's like the
what
ADHD,
kind of music?
A lot of hardcore.
Yeah.
Hard soul. Yeah.
I can't do that.
No. It just worked. It's the distraction thing, and so yeah, finishing that book, and especially the last chapter of that book, I became really obsessed about. It's about the acknowledgement of death.
Yep.
Sounds kind of dark and fucked up, but I became really obsessed with that, and really, I think a lot of people, once you are able to realize and understand that is the only guarantee in life, is that you are going to die, you can start to leverage things.
Have you seen the Gary Vee video when someone asks for a bit of advice and he goes, "You're going to die"?
No, I haven't seen that.
He's like full raw and she goes, "You're going to fucking die."
I'll have to watch it. That sounds up my alley.
Just straight out. And she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But it's true, man. Like, everyone's going to fucking die.
That's exactly right. And I just think that, along with those things that I mentioned before about being able to, it's experience something close to that, and realizing that you are going to fucking cuck it eventually.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, we're all going to end up under the dirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why not, people whinging about the things that they whinge about and all that sort of stuff, put it into perspective.
Yeah.
Is it going to matter in 2 weeks, in a year? How is it going to get you to where you want to be, that sort of stuff.
We're always focusing on the negatives instead of, I guess, the positives and the long-term effect.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
No one plans goals or looks at the long-term view of things. Just everything's short-term these days.
Yeah.
I think because we're impatient, we always want the short-term satisfaction.
We do. And that's a big thing that I've started to try to stem away from. And a big thing for me is like, when I look at where I want to be and where I want to go in regards to my personal life, my personal goals, my business goals, my relationship goals, I ask myself the question of, if I was to die tomorrow, would I be happy with the direction I was heading in? And hopefully, and it has been a lot more recently, 9 times out of 10, I'm saying, yeah, I'd be happy. So let's keep going.
So if I asked you that question today, would you be happy?
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's all I love to hear.
And you know what? It's taken a long time to get there. And don't get me wrong, I still have hiccups all the time.
That's life.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's, being able to learn from that and go, all right, I need to reassess and put myself in a new direction again.
It's about turning negatives into positives.
100%.
So what would you say is one of your darkest times over there?
My darkest time, probably, I was actually... I had two. There was one in London. There was one in Amsterdam as well. And I remember there's a lot of like, because I wasn't close with my parents, I was never really able to, pardon me, I was never really able to reach out to them or connect. And there were a lot of like, looking back on it now, completely selfish and stupid. But I would start to, envy people that have good relationships with their parents or had a certain childhood growing up. Like, like I mentioned to you before, I'm hopefully about to get a dog. And I was never able to grow up with a dog.
Yeah.
Coming up to like 24 years old, and that's something that I hold so close to my heart, or stuff like that. And that's stuff that I've had to learn to acknowledge and accept and now grow from. And I think with that, not being able to go to them or talk to them, like I could have 100%.
Yeah.
And if I ended up in a position where, things got real dark and real bad, I could have, and I would have, I would have reached out.
I guess it comes down to the anxiety as well. You don't feel comfortable. You feel scared.
Yeah,
you're running.
That's exactly
as I said
right.
before, you're running the worst scenarios through your head. So you're like, nah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, like, with Dad, so Dad was always away, a lot of the time. And then it was, Mum and my sister, and they were, obviously, we ended up sort of being 2-on-1. And then me and my mum would always be at each other's throats, and Dad would have to try and referee this from a lot of the time the other side of the fucking world.
Yeah.
So, and how do you do that? Like, man, I try to put myself in his shoes. Now, what do you got to choose between your wife or your son? Like, man, that's just cruel. Hard. You can't do that. So, probably the darkest time was in Amsterdam, I'd have to say. I didn't leave my room for probably a whole day. Sort of sat in there. I'd blocked all of my parents on all sort of socials, and they hadn't heard from me. And they got real worried, and I was in a real dark place. And they had to get on to my roommate over there and get him to come in and check on me, because they, weren't sure what had happened, what was going on. And obviously now, Mum and Dad's listening, I do apologise. That's, but when you're in that mind frame and that mindset, and unfortunately for me in the past, and still occasionally now, my coping mechanism was isolation.
Yep.
I just needed to isolate myself from everything, and then gradually I would realign and come back through.
Yeah.
But now, and I found people that I can talk to about these things, and probably one of the biggest advocates for speaking and talking to people.
Yeah.
Even if it's one person, and to the people out there that I've spoken to, I really can't thank you enough. I owe you everything. And for the people that are listening to others telling them things, just listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's easy to jump in and try and fix and try and help. But really, I don't know how you've gone about it in past times, but when, sometimes you just need someone there to listen.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing you want to hear sometimes is someone telling you how to do something, or
Yeah, or you're alright, or
Yeah.
it'll pass, or it'll go away. You know, like it doesn't cut it. It's not. You know, that doesn't compute up here.
and don't get me wrong, I've been guilty of it myself when someone else has been in that situation of me trying to come up with solutions and situation instead of sitting back and actually listening.
Even myself, man. I think it's just natural. That's
Yeah.
human instinct to want to try and help and provide solutions straight away from the get go. When really, you know, we should just try and sit back and listen and just try and understand where they're coming from.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. As you said, human nature, we just want to help.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
such is life. Man, so what's some of the biggest lessons you learned about yourself over there?
The biggest lessons I learned about myself. That's a hard question. That I need, and I still do this to this day. That I need to sit back and kind of relax and take a look at the progress that I've made.
Yeah.
Even now, you know, like since being back, I don't feel like I've done enough, and I want more. When in reality, I've been back since April, and started up at the gym in PTing at the gym in the end of June. We said I think gyms open back up. Since then, I was able to start my own business, Double D PT, moved out of home, bought a car, hopefully getting a dog soon, have savings, have built up a client base to now doing 40 sessions a week, looking at starting up this page, Ambitious Anxiety, and hopefully getting our own podcast going there, and getting an ebook out and working on the second book as well. To sit back and say, dude,
Yep.
you're doing all right. You know, you're doing well.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the right track. And I think for someone like me, I don't look at what other people have and say I want that. I just kind of subconsciously use it as a benchmark, and will take the things that I can apply to myself and just try to keep pushing.
Don't worry, I feel you 100%, bro.
Yeah.
From where I've come from, you know, the podcast, the clothing brand, all that stuff, I'm always looking at other brands. I'm like, fuck, I want to be at that level. So it makes me want to work harder.
100%. You know, like I'm looking at, guys like, and I think this comes down to as well, you need to choose your idols very, very well.
Yeah.
Like, picking who you idolize, how you idolize as well.
Yeah.
So like for myself, in my industry, so James Smith, have you heard of him? James Smith PT, the English guy.
No, I haven't.
Really, really good guy. He's like out in Aussie. He's got a couple of books out as well, and he's the same. He's raw. He's to the point. But he's built up this amazing business, and he's doing all these things. So like that. And as well, have you heard of Andy Frisella?
Yeah,
his podcast.
I used to listen to it until he went on the whole political thing. Then I stopped.
Yeah. So I just try to pick and choose what I need, what I find relevant, and use that. But
have you done that 75 hard challenge?
No, I haven't done that. Like I said, you invited me out for a run this morning, but I'm currently in the middle of prep and weighing like 105 kilos. So it's that wouldn't have done me any good.
Nah.
But yeah, no, that's definitely something I'd like to look into. And especially for me as well. So like, and my first manager was a big advocate for personal development.
Yeah.
And for someone like me who struggles to read, I got into audiobooks.
Yep.
And I got into podcasts, and that's been amazing. You know, I'll just whack it on after the gym, while I'm driving, while I'm doing cardio, and just I retain information so much easier when I'm doing something and hearing that in the background.
Yeah.
It works in well. So yeah, I think in regards to the biggest things that I've learned about myself is that I need to take a step back and acknowledge the hard work and the good work. I personally believe that I don't have an issue with complacency.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Maybe I used to. I try to stay as humble as possible at all times. And I think that if you asked a lot of my clients or the people that know me, that I'm relatively humble.
Yep.
Because, in this game, in this day and age, you've got to build relationships. You've got to build bridges if you want to get places. You're not going to get anywhere with a burnt name.
Exactly.
So doing those sorts of things, writing as well, being open with your struggles and having those people, but especially just trying to work on yourself and the things that your biggest downfalls too, So like I'll write, when I do my goals, I try and do monthly goals and monthly, like end of month reviews.
Yep.
And I'll go through, look at how much money I've earned, how many clients I had, personal goals, things that I wanted to achieve. Did I do them? Why didn't I do them? How I can do them better. And then I try and go into a few personal things as well, just about me, things that I want to try and do better. Because, man, in my industry, it's like you are constantly looking after other people. And when you're doing 40 sessions a week and you're seeing client after client and you're trying to deliver that 5-star service every session, and it's 50-50, man. You ask any good PT, you're 50% PT, 50% counselor.
Yeah.
And you take on their problems because you're trying to improve them on a whole.
How does that affect you when, I guess, you're going through your own thing and then the pressure of these people telling you all their life issues?
It affects me by me pushing my shit to the side.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy. I've learnt that the hard way. A couple of, relationships have suffered because of that. And I'm lucky that I've been able to salvage those, and I'm very appreciative of those people that have been able to stick by me and sort of help me, because they understand. They can see that it's not like I'm, sitting at home being a dick or, that sort of stuff. I'm just neglecting my own sort of feelings and emotions, and those relationships then start to suffer. Like there was a while there where I was just, coming back from Europe, because it all ended so abruptly. I went through a bad bout of insomnia, and I wasn't sleeping. So I turned to recreational drug use to help me sleep, right? And we're coming back from Amsterdam, right? I think that sort of, goes hand in hand. And so that became a regular thing, and that wasn't healthy. But if I didn't sleep, I couldn't get up at 4:30 every morning to get to those clients.
Yeah.
So I made that was the sacrifice at the time, right? And that ended up backfiring. And, I learned from that, and I'm in a much better position now where I'm able to delegate. And when I feel myself starting to burn out, and my clients understand that.
Yeah.
They can tell if I roll in one morning and I'm not me, they go, are you okay? Like, you all right? What's going on? So, and then it's up to me to be able to, okay, I need to sacrifice, a couple of hours for myself, bit of extra sleep, time to myself to just, recuperate. That way I can continue to give them the best possible service.
Yep. And the trip ended so quickly, was that because of Corona?
Yeah, because of Corona, yeah. We're basically sitting there in Amsterdam. So I was in, man, it's another thing as well. That was what sort of led to the recreational drug use. I was in lockdown so we did, I think, 2 weeks in Amsterdam. Nothing was open. We weren't working, weren't playing rugby. Just sort of sitting there on our asses.
Yeah.
And then I was able to come home. And then I did my isolation. Coming home after being away for 2 years, I was, wanted to see everyone, blah, blah, blah. I had to go straight into isolation.
Was that at the hotel or?
No, I was lucky. I got in a week before they started putting in people in hotels.
Oh, awesome.
So in that regard, I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I was able to, isolate at home. But then, coming home to what was not a friendly environment, it was a very hostile environment, because mum and dad had just, lost their jobs essentially with Qantas.
Yeah.
So, and that was hard. I sort of, would have loved to have come home to a completely different environment. But you know what? I had nothing, I couldn't complain. There's nothing I could do about it. I just sort of had to stick with it and go with it. And then, from there, I just had to, start to rebuild, I guess. So.
How did you rebuild?
I started from scratch, man. You know what? And this is, I was able to build my business up to what I did in the middle of a pandemic. And it's like, you understand from some of Andy Frizella's stuff, you just fucking do the work. Yeah. If you want it badly enough, you fucking do the work.
So many people are complaining about this year. For me, it's honestly been the best year of my fucking life.
Man, I can say the same. To be able to come home and do what I've done in the time that I've had, I feel dangerous.
It's all about perspective.
Exactly right. Exactly
you
right.
You can be like, oh, I lost my job, or I don't have money. But this is time you can focus on yourself, focus on hobbies or little businesses.
Yeah, exactly right. All this sort of stuff. So like I had a little bit of gym kit at home, and then I was able to get a little home gym set up off a mate, and then I went out and bought a bench. And the second I was out of isolation, I started up Double DPT out of the garage at home. Started off maybe 5, 6, 7 sessions a week. Started cranking it, promoting on Instagram and on Facebook, and I literally, built that up in 5 months, 6 months, from 5, 6, 7s in a garage to 40 sessions in one of the best gyms in Sydney. So it just goes to show you, if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen.
It's fucking hard work, bro.
Yeah.
I love that and I respect that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And that's one of, that's why I love Andy Frizella's stuff, and I'll mention him heaps, but it's, you are a product of your environment, and you need to do the work with what you have around you. And unfortunately, at the moment, I use the term snowflake. Do you know what a snowflake is?
Yeah, our generation.
Yeah, man, look, we've got people trying to base careers off of OnlyFans and stuff like that. Like, what crazy. The fuck is that? You're telling me you're trying to bring in your income of stuff like that.
And it's fucked because some of these chicks are making mad money off it too.
I know, right? I know. It's crazy. It's crazy the times that we live in. But
fucking society, bro.
And then, we're out here doing, 12, 13, 14-hour days, stuff like that. And, some of these people wouldn't know hard work if it slapped them in the face.
Showing a bit of ass for freaking $500.
I know, right? I should get my one going. Hey.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that's I just and another big thing that there's in the book as well, and in the second book that I'm starting to write. So the first book is more so about my experiences overseas, my experiences with mental health and self-growth. But I think you might have seen, there are some aspects in there that come from a real motivational point of view, where I'm just like, and I'm sort of speaking to myself in first person, but it's like, you can do this. This is, it's
self-talk.
Self-talk, like that sort of stuff. And I think a big driver when it comes as well from personal development, taking on things like Tony Robbins and like Mark Manson and stuff like that, and these guys, and it just comes from, putting in the work, and if you're hungry enough like that. And now you're starting to experience it more so as well, and I mentioned this from a motivational perspective, this is why a lot of people that have success in a fitness journey do so in real life.
Yeah.
Because what does it require? What's that word that starts with D?
Determination.
Close. D-I. Discipline.
Discipline, yeah.
Discipline. Yeah. That's the, that's it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It all correlates to every aspect of your life.
That's exactly right. Like watching, and I've loved, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but all this new running and sort of stuff with Corey, is that new for you?
Yeah, so I only started since COVID.
There you go, since COVID, and you now did your first
marathon,
full marathon. That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love hearing shit like that. It gets my dick hard. Like with clients, achieving goals.
Yeah.
Like it's what makes me get up in the morning. That sort of stuff. Helping people unlock their true potential and see that sort of stuff. The little wins like that, and the progress that can be made by applying simple procedures such as consistency and discipline.
Yeah.
And that's why I love bodybuilding so much, is because it's, the act of simple, consistent tasks done every day, and you get this, this growth.
Yeah.
And it's not something, you don't wake up in the morning and you don't wake up big, you don't wake up with 5 more kilos of muscle. Shit takes time, just like now. You can't wake up and run a marathon.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think, within Sydney and Greater Sydney, there is not, and it's growing. It is the fitness industry, the fitness culture. It's growing, but we don't have this, you know, a amazing niche group of guys supporting each other in both mental aspects as well as physical. And that's why I'm really excited with this new project, Ambitious Anxiety, with my mate Hayden, that we're going to get going. And that is going to be put around and designed to help not only young business owners, but people that are ambitious, but, you know, struggle with the mental health side of things too.
Because it's so common.
It is. It's so common, you know, and it's just, if we can help make it a more comfortable environment where we can all help each other grow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not about this, you know, bringing each other down, or look what he has, or I want that, or
everyone can have a piece of the pie, mate.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, you thrive off each other's successes. You know.
That's like me and Corey. Like, we're building each other up. I support him. He supports me.
Yeah,
And
exactly right. And even, man, like I didn't know you from a bar of soap before, but now, man, I'll be your biggest advocate.
Yeah.
I'll be cheering you guys on. You know, I've met Corey once.
Yeah.
And we've chatted back and forth, and I've seen him. He's do his running, listen to his story and his turnaround, and that's the sort of shit that, you know, doesn't get spoken about. People, and it's all because, in my opinion, social media, right? You only see the outcome.
Yeah.
You don't. Only slowly now we're starting to see the journey,
Exactly.
and the bigger picture.
And that's why I started this whole thing, bro. Everyone has a story, and I want to share it.
Just spilled that everywhere.
That's all good. Yeah, I want to be able to share everyone's stories. Everyone sees the Instagram, the socials, all the good shit.
Yeah.
You know, let's fucking dive into your story. Let's. Who are you?
Exactly right.
Yeah, like, people. It's all good to put your highlights up, but people really want to relate and see who the fuck you are.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what's really exciting about your podcast, and about you know, what myself and Hayden are going to try and get up and running as well. It's real people, it's real struggles, and it's real motivation, and it shows what can be done and what can be achieved when we all work together and normalize this stuff.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys can do, and I'm happy to help out.
Oh, bro, you'll be one of the first guests on there for sure. 100%.
For sure, man. So there was actually a quote that I got out of your little thing. I don't know where you got it from.
Yeah.
If you spend your time wishing for different time, you'll miss your life. This is how we age with regrets. We are so busy wishing for a life to be different that we do not accept how it actually is and make it different. When we are disconnected from reality, we cannot change our reality. I really love that quote.
Yeah.
I don't know where you got it from, but I really love that one.
I think that came from the book. I think that came from Mark Manson's book, I think. Whereabouts was it from?
Oh, couldn't tell you. I just found it in there.
Because there was lots of sort of, you know, I don't know. I like throwing words together and making my own sort of quotes here and there and stuff like that. But sometimes things like that really stick with me. One of the, I guess where that sort of came from is, and this was something, again, that you can really only experience when you take yourself out of your own comfort zone. Like, I would sit on the bus in Amsterdam when I was heading from our town into the city. Amazing drive, completely barren farmland, just one highway road, and I'd sit there with my headphones in, listening to music, and I don't know if it's some special ability or whatever's going on up here, but I was able to disconnect from reality and see somewhat of a bigger picture. You know, it could be something as simple as me sitting on that bus and someone would get on in a wheelchair, and I'd look at them and I'd say, you complain about some of the most pathetic shit, Drew. Mm-hmm. Look at how good you have it. You know, imagine, and I would sort of just tap into, imagine the daily struggles that person goes through. Yeah. You know, and if you're able to, and that comes down to, again, humility and empathy. Yeah. And I like to think now that, especially in my job, you need to have, as much as you need to be cutthroat, you also, to be successful, to have good retention as well, you need to have empathy. You need to be able to understand people as well. And to better yourself, and your own self-worth too, you need to understand that, you know, people have it worse off. Exactly. As well. Mm. So, but yeah, and that all sort of ties in. Little stuff like that sort of motivates me more to throw out, you know, like a couple of times, and on my PT page, I throw up my own occasional quote and we'll say it to clients and stuff like that. And it's really cool to get, you know, I don't get heaps of reactions. I might get one or two, maybe three, someone, but that's all I need.
Yeah.
If I can help one person by a little bit
Exactly.
of couple of words that I've strung together, and yeah, I actually threw together a little definition of the hustle.
Yeah. What
Would
is
you
it?
like to hear it?
Yeah.
All right, so where are we? So in my new book, it's like I'm just sort of structuring it to be more of like a motivational tool and stuff like that. So I just date it and go from there. So it was the 27th. So a little thing about the hustle. Your circle changes. You stop getting invited places. Early starts, long days. It hurts. It's a new kind of discipline. Change in its most positive and growth-bound form is not fun, at first anyway. You lose people you love, but the real ones stay. New ones come. You feel lonely at times. This is the hustle. At all costs, you do what it takes. It's a discipline like no other. It's not cut out for everyone. It will feel lonely as fuck at times. Others will portray and display their idea of fun, but you have a bigger picture. A future based on dreams supported by goals. You will hurt, you will cry, you will want to give up. Faith will have a brand new meaning, but so will liberation. You gain a new sense of worth and focus, one that cannot be achieved by parties, late nights, or fake friends. So do you have what it takes?
Bro, I fucking love that. And
Yeah.
I feel like so many people will be able to relate to that because it's so true. If you're striving for a bigger purpose, you're going to lose so many people because one, they don't understand.
Yeah.
Two, they're going to be jealous.
Yeah.
And they're just going to try and bring you down.
100%, man. That shit hurts. You know, like you'd understand now, like the sacrifices you made to even set this up.
Yeah.
You know, this is money we're looking at here. This is time. This is effort.
It can be a very lonely journey and it can affect people. So like I'm in a relationship right now.
Yeah.
And I do find it so hard to balance both because I'm so determined and focused on all this that I kind of push the relationship to the side.
Yeah.
And it brings tension in the relationship. So it's
without a
very,
doubt.
very hard. And it's something I'm trying to work on and learn every day.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. That's one of the biggest things that, you know, people who have such a full plate, to be able to do that. That's why I think it's, you know, and in this sort of position, you sort of need someone that is on a similar path.
Yeah.
To be able to understand what you're doing and what you're going through and how you have to juggle this.
Yeah.
And that can be hard to come across.
It is hard, especially society these days. You know, not many people are willing or determined to, you know, head down the path that you and myself are heading down.
That's exactly right. But that's what makes it special.
Yeah.
As well, you know, like, and with our fitness endeavors as well, right? You know, Corey would understand this too.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't, like, with his story too. Like, he lived that life. They
Yeah.
only had that life, and that's why I was kind of blessed in a way. Like, I lived that life. I had that. Don't get me wrong, man. When parties are back on, I'll go, but it won't be every week.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I had my run was I did 7 weeks in a row. Festival every weekend, 7 in a row.
I would have been dead, bro. Because see,
I was practically.
I haven't come from that environment. Like I never grew up, you know, partying, drinking, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't like not the clubbing scene. It was
Yeah.
you know like festivals are my
Yeah.
thing. You couldn't pay me enough to go out clubbing. It's, Yeah, I find it pretentious.
I've never been to a festival, eh?
Nah, festivals where it's at. That's a good time in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I was lucky. I got that out of the way, and that's what I mean. I was cooped up in Amsterdam and. Work wasn't flowing. I'll be lucky to work 2 shifts a week.
Yeah.
You know, so I actually started up my online business first. I was away, and you know what? I had 2 clients. Started from 1, 2 clients.
Yep.
But you know what? That was where it started. Double DPT in my room in Amsterdam with a shitty laptop, just a Facebook page, Instagram, and started doing programs on a Word document. And here we are.
Got to start somewhere, don't you?
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right.
Dude, let's touch on relationships. You had a relationship with a girl over there, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I did. There was the one in London, which was good. It was interesting. You know, I
reading it at some points that you got serious at some stages, and then
yeah.
her friend took her life.
Oh,
or
that was
something?
that was also another big hurdle as well. So yeah, there was one in London for a short period, and there was one in Amsterdam as well. And yeah, that was huge. I was able to taking on a lot of that, you know, like, what do you do? I mean, it's what do you do when you've just started seeing someone and then they're the best friend, sort of, you know, that happens.
Shit gets real quick.
Like, unbelievably, you know, you get thrown into a corner, and you know, you just gotta do what's right, and do what you feel is right, and that was what I thought that I did, and you know, it's still, you know, and I've grown from that, and have seen a lot from that too, which was the main thing for me personally, is what I've seen and how I've grown personally.
Did your anxiety shoot through the roof when all that was going on?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
That
But again, like you read, man, I just kept writing. Kept writing. And that was, for me, my biggest helper.
There's always light at the other side of the tunnel.
100%. 100%.
Dude, so you come back home. Yeah. Fucking grew this PT business to what it is now. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What else do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
My hobbies? Spent a lot of time in the damn gym.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in the gym.
Let's touch on bodybuilding. Yeah, have you always been loved bodybuilding?
I've always, I think I would say I've always loved. See, that was another thing as well. The gym was and still is and forever will be my escape.
Yep.
You know, there is nothing like, for me, going in there, and it's about, that's why I love the whole gym environment and the fitness industry, okay, for what it should be, all right? It's all about self-improvement.
Yep.
Right? You know, that unfortunately now with social media, it's sort of strayed a little bit. But yeah, for me personally, so I had a background in rugby, obviously, for a while, and then I enjoyed it. It was good, being strong and powerful and whatnot. And then, you know, it's a team sport though, right? It's based on team. I shifted over to bodybuilding, and I haven't been doing it for all that long, to be honest with you. I did my first comp 3 years ago, and I haven't done one since, but I've got one coming up in Feb and March, so I'm really looking forward to those. And that, it's all about, again, self-improvement, consistency, discipline. There's no one out there. It's you versus you. You know, you don't have anyone else to rely on to help you or to get you there. So,
and you got to do everything to the T, especially like right before comp, with all the
exactly,
food
yeah,
and all that stuff.
It's make or break. It's you know, you have to be able to follow the program, and that's why I think it's so special, and you know, like, it's such a slow, rewarding process, as with, you know, I think you'd understand with the running now as well. It's a slow progression. You can't just roll out of bed and go and squat 200 for reps. You know, I had to earn that.
Yeah.
That was 8 years of hard training to be able to squat 200 for reps. So
yeah, I think people forget about, you know, there's a lot of hard work to be done before you can get to that level.
Yeah.
That's what one dislike I don't like about the fitness industry, where they do all these challenges and that they're looking for quick, short results, and then they just rebound.
Yeah, exactly. It's not maintainable.
No.
You know, it's not realistic too. These people, that's why I have a lot of success at the moment.
Yep.
Because I train my clients on, I'd call it flexible dieting.
Yep.
You know, but in a way that, okay, you know what you need to do, and you know, if you do this, I'd say it works out to be at least 80-20. I say, you know, okay, follow the program Monday to Friday, no slip-ups whatsoever, and then give yourself a meal or two and a rest day on the weekend, and then you come back to Monday and you restructure.
It's a lifestyle, and people can actually hold that.
Exactly, it's maintainable.
Yeah.
It's realistic, you know, as opposed to going, you know, straight in. You have to eat this. You have to do that.
They cut all their carbs out or something. It's like, how the fuck can you sustain that?
Don't get me started on that.
Some people, honestly,
you can't. It's not maintainable at all, man.
And another thing about socials, man, like these so-called fitness fucking models, and they do their cookie cutter programs and shit. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I only heard about that yesterday. This cookie diet thing.
Yeah,
like, man, like it's shit like that, you know, and like stuff like I don't know, like the gastric band, for example. You heard of that? Like when people get their stomach tight and shortened. Look, I can understand, right? Look, in my personal opinion, okay, if you Okay, unless you have a pre-existing health condition, say for like diabetes or something, and you really have done everything that you can, and you still ended up in that position where you need to do that. Okay, fine. But if you got yourself there, and you're gonna take the soft option, you know, what else is there to say about that? It's a true show of character.
Yeah.
And I'll be offending a lot of people right now, but I don't really give a fuck.
No.
You know, you and I and other people out there that have had real results and that have done that know that it's much more rewarding than taking shortcuts.
Exactly right. And yeah, as I said, that's why I'm not a big fan of the fitness industry. Like, I was actually studying sports and exercise science.
Yeah.
And I left. I was like, no,
Yeah.
I don't like the industry. It's oversaturated.
Yeah.
And you can go to uni, do a 3-degree, do masters.
Yeah.
While these fucking chicks are on Instagram
That's
making
what I
all this
mean.
money.
That's
It's
what I
like,
mean.
what the fuck?
Yeah, that's why you should when you get a chance, jump onto James Smith onto his Instagram. He'd have so many haters, like you know, because he's real, he's raw, and I really can relate to him in those sorts of in his opinions and all that sort of stuff. Like it's you know, it's black and white at the end of the day. And don't get me wrong, man, it's frustrating. Like, you know, there are guys out there that are, and girls that are these fitness models that have, you know, 100, 120, 200K followers. And you know what? They go and pay some online coach to write programs, and then they start selling programs. It's like, I'm sorry, what? You haven't studied a day in your life, nor dealt with a one-on-one client, and you're going to start, you know, doing that? Yeah, it's the fitness industry is in a very interesting position, but I think it's salvageable. I think it is salvageable, definitely.
I guess it's not their problem, it's the governing bodies.
Yeah.
Like, they're just taking advantage of a situation.
Yeah, and for that, you know what, I credit them.
Yeah.
If they're making bank and they're doing it, yeah, that's fine. But it'll fall out eventually.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
People are going to catch on sooner or later, like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, 100%.
And then they come to someone like you who's putting in the hard work and...
We will win at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Dude, so I guess what's a piece of advice you would give someone like yourself and, you know, myself that deals with anxiety? What's a piece of advice you could give them?
My piece of advice would be open and be honest with yourself. Understand and establish the people closest to you that give a fuck.
Yep.
Be honest with them. And, you know, be able to focus on the positives and the things that you do have. All right. In business at the moment, recently experienced something like this in the workplace too, right? Okay. So people change trainers, okay?
Yep.
Just like people change hairdressers, all right? If your hairdresser does a shit job, where are you going to go? You're going to go to a new hairdresser, right? So that sort of thing happens. You got two people in this scenario, in my opinion, okay? You've got the person that whinges, gets upset, complains, or you've got the person that goes, okay, look at how many other clients I do have. I'm going to continue to put the hard effort into those. And then, you know what, from what's going to happen from them, you're probably going to get a referral. You get a good result, you're going to get a good referral. People are going to see that.
And also reflect where you went wrong and where you need to improve.
Exactly. And learn and grow from that, and not be so naive to think that, oh, you know, you're too good for that.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
Exactly.
So I think there's two ways to go about that. And like Frizella, and Andy touches on that a lot. He goes, you know, too many people sit there and whinge and whine about the things that they lose or the things that they don't have. Fucking look at what you do have. Look at what you can make from that. Mm-hmm. And just hustle, man.
Yep.
For fuck's sake, roll your sleeves up.
Yep.
Like, I can't say that enough. I can't stress that enough, you know. And to everyone that does that now, and just keep doing that. Your time will come. You know, I got to say that to myself every fucking day. I roll out of bed. I don't drive an amazing car. I'm not earning a shit crazy income. I'm not at the top of my game. I'm not winning comps yet. I got so far to go. But look at the little wins. Hold on to those little wins. Yep. Give yourself the credit. And like, yeah, as well, don't over celebrate. No. You know, don't have a little victory and go on a fucking holiday for a couple of weeks.
Gary Vee says, stay neutral, bro. Don't worry about, just stay neutral. Because if you're celebrating everything, as soon as you get a knock, you're gonna dive straight down.
It's one step forward, two steps back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, definitely.
Dude, so what's your why? What's your purpose for getting out of bed every day?
Man, my why, I just want to leave a mark. I just want to leave a mark. I'm here. You know, I had my turning points. I had my struggles. I still will have my struggles, but I want to leave a mark for all the right reasons. You know, I want to build an empire of people that have made positive change. You know, I want to continue to do that, and I want to continue to help people. I love to help people at the end of the day. You know, not everyone will agree with me, but the ones that do know. So that's my why. You know, I couldn't roll out of bed at 4:30 every morning for a desk job or something like that. You know, there's something bigger out there for me. Something more rewarding. And yeah, just I love that. You know, that hustle and that progression. You know, some people born with it. Some people are able to find it. Some people will never have it. And it's all about, as well, you know, realizing what you want, realizing what you can realistically achieve, and fucking dream big, man.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. I want to get up on that Olympia stage one day. I want to be the best in the world.
Yes.
That's what drives me. I want to be the best in the world.
So that's the goal. You want to be top in bodybuilding.
That's the dream, supported by goals to get there.
Yep.
You know, I'll do whatever it takes.
What are some other goals that you want to achieve?
Some other goals. So, obviously want to grow my business. Hopefully, to a point where I have a large online structure. Because obviously, for so long you can only do this without burning out these kind of hours. Potentially look at opening my own gym, chain of gyms, or my own Gold's Gym or something like that. You know, wherever that goes, be a business, already a business owner, but be a multiple business owner. Get into the market too. Hopefully by the end of next year, if I can, as well, with an investment property. And yeah, just take over, man. Just
aim high, bro. Aim high.
That's exactly right.
I respect that, bro. I love that.
Thank you.
Dude, so I guess you've kind of touched on it before. When your time's up on this earth, what's something you'd like to be remembered for? Or what would you like to be remembered for?
I don't know if you can read it on my ankle there.
Unbreakable.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Unbreakable. Unbreakable. Geez, I just got that wrong. I want to be. Well, both. I want to be known for being unstoppable and unbreakable. You know, just having that never say die attitude. You know, and just building people up around me to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't about me. This is about everyone. I don't get to where I want to be if I can't get people to where they want to be.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
You got some mean tats too. Any of them mean like something special to you?
Oh, there's the one on my chest there. There's the lyrics from Forever Young. That was a song that just sort of reminds me of my nan, because I grew up with her when I was younger, when mum and dad were away. That's probably my most meaningful one. And then that on the ankle there is with the date that I lost my testicle. So those ones are probably the most important to me. And then the rest is just a bit of body art. So
awesome. Love it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up with this last question, man. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success would be, quite simply, being better than you were yesterday and aiming higher than you are today.
Love it.
That's it.
Dude, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you, bro.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. I look forward to hopefully getting you on our podcast.
Awesome, man.
ASAP.
And I know everyone listening will be able to relate to what we've just spoken about. And it's been a great chat, and I can't wait to see the book, the podcast, all that come out.
Thank you, bro. I'm very, very keen.
I'll definitely be sharing it around and getting it out there for everyone.
Same, bro. Likewise.
Awesome, man. Cheers. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Cheers, guys.